Alright guys, in this video we're going to talk about strings and concatenation and some of the properties and methods that are available with strings. So let's go ahead and create a couple strings here. So we'll say first name equals, we'll call him William, and let's create a last name, and we'll say Johnson. Okay, so we have these first name and last name. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to initialize a variable called val that we can work with, just so we don't have to do a million different console.logs, and we'll just overwrite this value as we move along. So first thing, let's go ahead and set this to first name plus last name, and I know a lot of you know what this is going to do, and even if you don't, you can probably guess. If we go ahead and run this, it's just going to take the first name and last name and squish them together. Now, this is if you wanted to output this name, you'd probably want a space in between, so this is where you'd use concatenation. And I might spell some comments wrong, guys, because it's not really important. You know, it's not going to throw an error, so I might not realize it, and I'm not the best speller, so just be aware of that. So let's say we wanted a space in between, so we'll take this val and we'll set that to first name, and then we want to concatenate a string, so we'll just use a plus sign to concatenate it, and we'll just put a space in there, and then we're going to concatenate back to a variable, and we want to put in the last name. So now if we save that, we get William space Johnson. Okay, and we could put whatever we want in here as a string and it'll show up. So let's go from concatenation to appending. Okay, so if we want to append something, meaning we want to add on to a variable, not replace it, but add on to it. So let's say we have val equals, and I'm going to set this, I'll set it to my name, so Brad, and I'm going to put a space here, and then if I say val equals, and then my last name, Traversy, obviously that's going to overwrite. Traversy's overwriting Brad, but if I want to append it, I can just do plus equals here and save, and now you can see we get Brad space Traversy, and that space is coming from here. All right, so remember, this is to append. Now, let's go ahead and create a sentence here with some variables in it. So we'll say, hello, my name is, and then I'm just going to concatenate first name, and then we'll go back to a string and we'll say, and I am, and I'm just going to put another variable up here called age, and we'll set it to 36, and we'll say I am, and then we'll concatenate age, and we'll save that. We get hello, my name is William, and I am 36. Okay, so this is how concatenation works. Now, with ES6 or ES 2015, they introduced template literals, also called template strings, which makes this much easier, especially when you're dealing with HTML, when you're generating HTML in JavaScript. It makes it much easier to have a string and include variables, and we're going to do that in the next video, but you still need to know how to do it this way. All right, so let's talk about escaping. So let's say we have a sentence here, and we want to say, that's awesome, I can't wait, like that. And you can see that there's already something messed up here. Even the editor knows it. Basically what's happening is we're starting a string with a single quote, and then we have this quote here, which we just want to use in the sentence, but it's looking at it as the end of this string. Okay, so one solution would be to use double quotes like this. Okay, if I save that, that will work. It prints out. And by the way, if I try to print that out, it's just going to give us an error, unexpected identifier. But another way you can do it if you don't want to use double quotes is you can escape with a backslash. Okay, so this quote right before it, we'll put a backslash for both of these. And if we save that, that works, because what this backslash does is it escapes this quote, making it just a regular character. It basically takes its power away of ending a string. Okay, so that's escaping. Now, next thing I want to look at is some of the properties and methods that are available with strings. So let's say length. So we'll set val equal to first name dot length. Now, since this is a property and not a method, we don't need parentheses. Parentheses are for methods, which are basically just functions. So let's go ahead and try that, and we get 7. Okay, so it just counts the number of characters in the string. Very easy. So let's also look at a method called concat, which works similar to what we did here, but by using a method. So if we say val equals, and let's take first name and say concat, we're saying we want to concatenate something onto it. Let's concatenate a space, and then we can put a second parameter in here. We'll put a comma, and then let's put last name. So now if I save that, we get William Johnson. The same result as this, except we're using the concat method. All right. Another method we have is 2 uppercase and 2 lowercase. So we can change case pretty easily. We'll say val equals first name dot 2 uppercase and save, and you can see we get William in all uppercase, and at the same time, of course, we can do 2 lowercase and save, and we get William lowercase. Okay, now you can also treat strings like read-only arrays. Now this isn't very useful, but I just want to mention it because you can do it. So let's say we wanted to get a certain character of the string. We could say, for instance, first name, and just like an array, we could use brackets. And I know we haven't gone over arrays yet, but we will. And let's say 0 and save, and we get W. So what this is doing is it's taking the 0 index of this value. And arrays start with 0, so do strings. So 0, 1, 2, and so on. If we were to do 2, then it's going to give us L, which is the 2 index. All right. If we want to find the index of a value or a character, we can use the index of method. So let's say val equals, and we'll say first name dot index of, and let's say we want the index of 2. Let's see what that gives us. Whoop, that was wrong. We actually want to look for a certain character, so let's do L. There's actually a method that does what I just did, and I'll show you that in a second. But if I save that, it gives us 2. Okay, what it does is it starts here and it looks for the first L it finds and gives us the index, which in this case 0, 1, 2. Now if we want to go from the other way, then we can use last index of. So let's say last capital I index of. Now we get 3, which is the second L, because it's coming from this way. All right, now the kind of opposite of index of would be char at. So char at, we can do, let's say first name dot char at, and this time we can put in a number, let's say 2. This is what I tried to do with index of, and it didn't work. And by the way, you saw that it gave us -1. That's because if you use index of and the character you're searching for is not there, then it's equal to -1. Okay, that's the default. Now, if I do this char at 2 and save, we get L, because that's the 2 place. So 0, 1, 2 is L. All right, now let's say you wanted to get the last character of a string, and a string could change, so you need some kind of formula. So to do that, it's very easy. Let me just put a comment in here. We'll say get last character. So we'll set val equal to greeting dot char at, and in here, instead of putting just a number, we want to put the, not greeting, first name. So first name char at, and then we just want to put in here first name dot length, which gives us the entire length, and the last character would be -1. So we'll save that, and you can see we get M. If I were to add an S onto this and save, we'll get S. So that will always give us the last character, and that's a common formula you'll see in JavaScript when dealing with strings. Another thing we could do is get substrings. So basically pull a substring out of a string. So we'll do val equals first name dot substring, and let's say we want 0 to 4 and save, and we get Will. Okay, so we're plucking out a substring of Will from the first name string of William. So that's substring. We also have slice. So we can say val, and slice is mostly used with arrays to pull things out of arrays, but you can also use it with strings. So let's say slice, and let's do 0, 4, and it gives us the same thing. Slice is very similar to substring. But one thing we can do with slice, if I go ahead and just copy that, we could put a negative number in here. Let's say -3. And it'll start from the back and it'll take the last 3, okay, which can be helpful in some situations. So that's slice. Now, the next one I want to show you is split, and this can be really handy. What this does is it can split a string into an array based on a separator. So for instance, if we were to, we'll probably have to, we'll have to add a new variable here. Let's just say str, and we'll set it to hello there, my name is Brad, and actually let's get rid of the comma, because what I want to do is I want to turn this into an array based on spaces. Okay, so what I can do is set str, which is that variable, and we can say split, and we can split at the space. Okay, so we want to put a space in here, and we'll save that. Now you can see we have a 6-value array, and we have each word in each index here, so 0 through 5. Now, where this can come in handy is if, let's say you had a form on your website, and you had, maybe it was to create a blog post, and you had them enter comma-separated tags for their post. So let's say it's a post on web development, so you could say like web design, web development, programming, and so on. And then when they submit the form, you can turn that into an array and then do what you want with it. So we could say val equals tags dot split, and we'll split it by the comma, and then save, and now you can see we have an array with each tag. All right, even if the word has spaces in it, we're splitting it by the comma. All right, and then let's see, another one I want to look at is replace, and this is very simple. It does just that. So let's say we'll take that string that we have, which is hello there, my name is Brad. So what we'll do is we'll say replace, and we want to search for Brad, and we'll replace it with, let's say, Jack, and save, and we get hello there, my name is Jack. So you can replace something inside the string. And then another one we have, the last one I'm going to show you, is includes, which gives you a true or false value based on if something is in the string. So let's say val equals str dot includes, and we'll say the string hello, and save, and we get true. Okay, because that is included. If I were to put, let's say, I don't know, foo, and save, we'll get false. Okay, so that's a way that you can test to see if something is inside of a string. So I know that this isn't the most exciting stuff right here, but this is the basics, and you need to know it, and you will run into some of this stuff. So like I said, it's not exciting. We will get into more exciting stuff when we start building projects, getting into the DOM. But this entire section is really for beginners and just getting your feet wet and trying to understand the basic fundamentals of JavaScript. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.